We're about to get started about 6 o'clock. If you have not signed up for the hearing the residents, it is located in the back there. If you'd like to speak to the council, please sign up at the hearing the residents on the back there.
Test 1 2, test 1 2. This one. Test 1 2.
Test, test. Testing, 1 2, testing. Is that okay?
Yes. Just one final opportunity. If you'd like to sign up for the hearing the residents, please do so at the back. We still have some residents that want to sign up for the hearing the residents, so we'll hold off until they complete signing in. No, I might need it. The time is now 6:03. We will start our regular city council meeting for April 25th, 2023. Our meeting is now in session. First on the agenda is Councilmember Whitaker will lead us with the opening prayer and the pledges of allegiance to the flags of the United States and the state of Texas. Please rise.
Let us pray. Dear Father, help us to focus our minds this evening on the matters at hand. We have been blessed with abundance, but we need to know how to be good stewards of these things. Each decision we make will have an impact, and the same impact will be felt differently by different people within the community. In all decisions and in all actions, may we honor you and respect one another as we handle the business of the city of Schertz. Thank you for this opportunity to serve this great community, and I pray your blessings over us, that we would remain safe, prosperous, and continue to be a place our residents are proud to call home. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitaker. All right. We have two proclamations. We have the National Library Week, April 23rd to the 29th, 2023, and our Mayor Pro Temp Brown will read the proclamation.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. City of Schertz Proclamation, National Library Week. There's more to the story, April 23rd to April 29th, 2023. Whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure inclusivity and equity of access for all. And whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, continually expanding their collections, services, and partnerships. And whereas libraries play a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literacy skills, and support for job seekers, small businesses, and entrepreneurs. And whereas libraries provide the opportunity for everyone to pursue their passions and engage in lifelong learning, allowing them to live their best life. And whereas Schertz Public Library was established 45 years ago by resident request, has 21 staff members and approximately 35 volunteers who serve the city. And whereas Schertz Public Library had more than 359,000 checkouts, 185,000 visits, and provided 334 programs to more than 11,000 attendees last year. And whereas Schertz Public Library provides access to more than 250,000 items in multiple formats, including physical items such as books, magazines, newspapers, DVDs, audiobooks, games, and digital items such as e-books, e-audiobooks, digital newspapers, streaming video, and a number of online services including Ancestry.com, Weiss Financial Ratings, BrainFuse, Creative Bug, and Rocket Languages. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week. Now therefore, be it resolved that Ralph Gutierrez, Mayor of the City of Schertz, proclaims National Library Week, April 23rd to 29th, 2023. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit their library to explore the wealth of resources available. In testimony whereof, I sign my name officially, cause the seal of Schertz to be affixed on the 25th day of April. Ralph Gutierrez, Mayor.
Wow, I feel tired just listening to all of that. Thank you so much for the proclamation, but also I wanted in particular to, I'm sorry, my name is Melissa Yulhorn, I'm the library director, I forgot that very important part. I also wanted to give a shout out to the staff because not only is it National Library Week, but today in particular is National Library Workers Day. And libraries would not be the places they are without the people who work there. It's a lot of work, and no, they don't get to read books all day long. They read at home just like everybody else does. But what they do every day that they come to work is they help people. They help people apply for things. If you can apply for it, we've had somebody come in asking for help because all applications are online now, right? So people need help with that for driver's licenses, for Social Security benefits, for just about anything you can think of. They help people find information. They help people find the right books to read. They help children learn to read, learn to enjoy reading, and become curious about the world around them. They help in so many ways. They help with phones. They help with cranky devices. Somebody who can't get their iPad to work, they come in into the library and the staff helps them. They help with everything. And they listen. They listen to people who are happy. They listen to people who are sad. They listen to people who don't have anyone to talk to. It can be a very emotional job, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but I get very teared up thinking about it. But I wanted to give a shout out to my staff. They're the best staff ever. So I'm gonna list their names. I have April, Lizzie, Stephanie, Regina, Karen, Katrina, Joni, who is here with me tonight. She was the only one I could coax here. Lex, Pam S., Pam K., Lori, Julio, Lila, Lisa, Michelle W., Michelle N., Steve, Samaria, and also our temp worker, LaDonna. They're a fabulous staff. Come and visit them. They will help you with pretty much anything you can think of. Shout out to them. Thank you very much.
Our next proclamation is National Administrative Professionals Appreciation Week. If I can have the representatives for that proclamation, please come up.
City of Schertz Proclamation, National Administrative Professionals Week, April 23rd through April 29th, 2023, and National Administrative Professionals Day, April 26, 2023. Whereas National Secretaries Week was organized in 1955 by the U.S. Department of Commerce, renamed to Professional Secretaries Week, and in the year 2000 became Administrative Professionals Week. And whereas Administrative Professionals Week 2023 focuses on honoring the office professionals who make offices work, reflecting the integral and significant role that office professionals play in modern business. And whereas administrative professionals play an essential role in coordinating the office operations of businesses, government, educational institutions, and other organizations. And whereas Administrative Professionals Week is observed annually, and in our nation, there are approximately 2.78 million administrative professionals who make important contributions at their workplace. And whereas the City of Schertz administrative professionals have a combined total of over 100 years' experience. And whereas the work of administrative professionals today requires advanced knowledge and expertise in communications, computer software, office technology, project management, organization, customer service, and other vital office management responsibilities, and most importantly, have the willingness to learn and accept new challenges. And whereas administrative professionals serve as information hubs, managing and cataloging information, organizing the office space, and mastering office technology. And whereas administrative professionals are employed in public and private sectors, including business, government, and academic settings, now therefore be it resolved that Ralph Gutierrez, the mayor of Schertz, proclaim National Administrative Professionals Week, April 23rd through April 29th, 2023, and National Administrative Professionals Day, April 26, 2023, in the city of Schertz, and urges all citizens to thank the city of Schertz administrative professionals for providing beneficial services to our workplaces, our community, and our economy.
Our administrative professionals, you know, a lot of us, all of us depend on them, really. I know I'm always busy, and I rely on my secretary and deputy secretary on information that is needed, and I'm sure all the different departments count on your expertise and getting the information that they need. Thank you all so much. Let's take a photo right over here. Come on. We'll continue with city events and announcements. Mr. James?
Hopefully everybody, can you hear me? Okay. So just a reminder, if you don't know, now through April 27th, RACAP is holding their annual food drive. So Heidelberg Materials is partnering with the Randolph Area Christian Assistance Program to stock RACAP shelves for the summer. And that's a time, as you know, when many children don't have access to regular nutritious meals that schools typically provide during the year. RACAP's a nonprofit food pantry serving families in parts of Comal, Guadalupe, and Bexar counties. Collection boxes can be found in the lobbies of Building 1, Building 2 of City Hall here, the police department, the library, who we just recognized, as well as the YMCA, so we'd encourage folks to participate there. And then lastly, our next regular council meeting is Tuesday, May 2nd, 6 p.m. here in council chambers.
Thank you, Mr. James. Announcements and recognitions by our city manager, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of announcements. First, I want to congratulate purchasing manager Julie Golke. She earned her Certified Procurement Professional designation from the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing, and that's a well-earned designation that will help her and the city. The Love Where You Live program had a service project this Saturday, and about 315 volunteers from 7 churches helped 70 families in 6 different neighborhoods with their homes. The Parks and Recreation Department held an education program at the Crescent Bend Park, and the people who were in attendance were able to learn about various animals. This was in partnership with the San Antonio Zoo, and they brought out, I believe, an anteater, some horned lizards, and as well as some other animals. There will also be a regional job fair on May 11th at the Cibolo YMCA. There's information on the website for that. And also the library is promoting Be a Human Book. So the library is recruiting residents to be a human book, where they will have the opportunity to talk to readers about their experience, perspectives, and values and beliefs. And they're looking for volunteers for that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Right, announcements and recognitions by the mayor. At this point, I don't have any announcements except to thank you all for coming out here. We didn't expect this big of a crowd, and you know, it's overwhelming, but thanks for showing up. All right, so we'll move on. Next on the agenda is the hearing of residents. This time is set aside for any person who wishes to address the city council. Each person is limited to 3 minutes, and we ask, before addressing the council, for the record, please state your name and address. I also, Mayor Pro Tem, please call our first speaker. I also want to make you aware that since the items are not posted on the agenda, there is no back and forth conversation with the council and the members that are speaking, okay? So let's go ahead and get started.
All right, first on the list is Carol Davis.
Mayor, Council, did that come through?
You can put it down at the bottom. How's that?
Okay, can you hear me now? Clearly, I am not Carol Davis. My name is Cherie Kearney. I'm the Deputy City Secretary. I am acting as proxy for Ms. Davis at her request. She lives at 3337 Wimbledon Drive. She's unable to attend tonight because her father-in-law is in the hospital. However, not only does her voice need to be heard, but his as well, since he lives at 3334 Charleston Lane. These are her words. Data published in the Community Impact publication from April 18th to May 15th, 2023 speaks volumes about the conditions of the current real estate market in our area. For year over year, the market is down 19 homes sold, and the active inventory is up 366 units. How can you say that we do not have enough available housing? In Guadalupe, Comal, and Bexar counties, the percent of original price being received on sales is also down. We are in a financial downturn as a country. The market does not need to be flooded with more units. The interest rates are so high that people cannot afford to buy or sell their homes. Hobby Homes has also designed a project under the impression that Country Club Boulevard is a two-lane road, which it is not. The density of the project is simply too much traffic for the area. The neighborhood does not have the exit or entry points to handle the traffic that currently exists. Why do you find it logical to let the citizens suffer under extreme traffic conditions before you build the infrastructure to support the system? Responsible and effective planning of any kind begins with a strong foundation. Do you want the house you live in to be built on an unstable foundation? Do you want your home to be so overcrowded that it is uncomfortable to move about? Do you want to lose your backyard privacy? Please listen to the concerns of the residents of the North Cliff area. We too took a chance when we bought our homes. We took a chance on our leaders taking care of our concerns and needs. We took a chance that our government would design and maintain effective and safe infrastructure. We took a chance on the idea that our government would not put money in front of citizens. We took a chance on each of you as elected officials that you would do the right thing and place the citizens of Schertz above the desire to overcrowd our streets. Please vote no on the golf course development and seek to find a more responsible answer to the problems our community faces. Thank you. Signed, Carol Davis.
Next up is Don Sweet.
Honorable Mayor Gutierrez and council members, I'm here to
Could I
speak
please
in-
have your name and address, please?
I'm sorry. My name is Donald Sweet. My wife Catherine and I moved from Garden Bridge to Schertz 10 years ago. We reside at 832 Water Oak. I'm here to speak in support of Robert Fishback. Robert and I have been friends for many years. We met at church and our friendship grew over the years on mutual respect, common religious beliefs and practices, and love of country. Robert is a retired veteran, and I started a military ministry at our church in 2011. He was one of our earliest members and was so instrumental in the ministry's success that before the pandemic, we had 200 active members in that ministry. Robert was always the first to volunteer, to do whatever needed to be done, and it was completed expeditiously and thoroughly. His take-charge character and organization skills were critical to the new ministry. My wife and I are members of the Senior Center. We have interacted with Robert many times at the center and observed him as a manager. He exudes professionalism, dedication, and enthusiasm. As a founder and president of a California corporation for 25 years, finding and retaining competent employers was always a daunting task. I feel comfortable judging Robert as a perfect, loyal member for the center. Thank you.
If you can please hold your applause. There's how many sheets do we have here?
2.5.
2.5 sheets. That's about 2.5 hours of public speaking, and we're just delaying this, and we're looking at 3 hours, and we continue to clap and acknowledge that. Okay, so let's go ahead. Call our next speaker.
Next is Allison Lau. I thought that was you.
Hi, my name is Allison Lau. I live at 3678 Pebble Beach, and I came out here to express my opposition to the golf course development for many of the reasons already cited and in past hearings. I'm very concerned about the lack of what I perceive to be any planning on the city's part as far as increasing our infrastructure and making sure that it can handle the increase in the population and as well as the vehicles. And I think others have spoken out in the past about traversing the residential area for people to exit from our neck of Schertz. So anyway, wanted to just express that, my opposition. Thank you.
I'm sorry for the pronunciation on that. Next, Ann Stinson.
Good evening. My name is Ann Stinson, and I live at 140 Kaylee Chase, Cibolo, Texas. But I am here on behalf and support for Robert Fishback. Okay. Being a member of the Schertz Senior Center, with that purpose, I wanted to be aware of the situation that involved Robert. Apparently, there was confrontations and things like that. But as a person who is paid to be a member and participation, I did not receive an email about notification that explanation could be given, and I have given my email upon my application. There wasn't anything necessarily posted at the entrance of the building, so it was a lack of communication for people to understand what went on, due process, being informed so that we could be aware of what's going on and we could be asked what our input would be. Thank you.
Gregory Siebold.
Gregory Siebold, 3841 Green Ridge, Schertz, Texas. First, let me thank you for your time. you put in a lot of it. I'm here simply to state that I am in favor of ordinance 23S02, which I believe is PLPDD 2022-0186, the Blue Bonnet Ridge development. Thank you.
Daniel Prestridge. Prestridge?
Yeah, it's David Prestridge. Bad handwriting. 3708 Hillside, Schertz. Thank you very much for listening to us. And I'm here to voice support for the villas at Blue Bonnet Ridge. We believe it is a very quality built project that is being discussed at this, that's being offered now. If it fails, our concern is what will be put in its place. So I encourage you to approve it. Thank you.
Mary Wallace.
Yeah, I'm Mary Wallace. I live at 126 Silver Terrace, Universal City. However, I am a member of the Schertz Senior Center, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our director, Bob Fishback. He's known as Robert, but we all know him as Bob because he's that close to every member of the majority of the member of the Senior Center. I'm writing, I was concerned about this big mess that has happened. Mr. Fishback has been such a wonderful director and has made significant improvements and provided a listening ear to all who walked into his office. Statistics have proven the growth and wonderful activities we have in this facility. All this turmoil could have been avoided if he would have had his support from the Y directors above him. He has been under a lot of pressure with the constant harassing of a certain Miss Hamilton that has lasted over 4 months, and it caused him to write a letter of resignation, but he has since rescinded because the members begged him to come back. It has not been easy for Bob to work with the elderly, as we feel we should not be told what to do at our age, and we get easily offended. Why anyone would want to work with us is beyond my understanding. He truly loves working here and treats us all with much appreciation. Please accept Bob's request to get his job back, and we learned that the Y said no. Because of hurt feelings, I don't know, but they are not listening to the members, the majority of the members of the Y. We need Bob, we want him back. He, as a director, he should have some say and direction over the center, especially in correcting, giving warnings, and ultimately removing patrons' membership of the center who are threatened, are blatantly belligerent, or sexually harassed. I am not stating that he should be given absolute power, but this man's life and job and was taken from him, livelihood. And he has payments, and he has, on a house and everything. He's, as I said, he is a veteran. He is a senior himself. He is the bomb, I would say. I have been through 3 directors at this center, and in my opinion, Mr. Fishback, by far, has been the kindest, the most approachable this center has had. Bob has been truly a blessing to so many of us. And let's not forget that Bob, as I said, is a veteran and a senior himself. Please, please, allow him to come back. And I say this.
Terry Nava.
I'm sorry, what was that? Who was it? Who's our next speaker?
Terry Nava.
Hi, hi, my name is Teresa Nava, and I give you my time to Bob.
Okay. Mr. Fishback, you will be given 6 minutes total.
Hope you can hear me. I have a pretty big mouth. My name is Robert Fishback, 140 Dewfall Trail in Cibolo. Good evening, Mayor Gutierrez, Mr. Williams, and council members. I'm a current member and the former director of the Schertz Area Senior Center and resigned due to the Parks and Recs Director Lauren Schrum's unprofessional and condescending email. Specifically, Ms. Schrum's supervisor, Sarah Gonzalez, emailed my supervisor, Josh Sandoval, resulting in a verbal, then written counseling for my reply to that email. This was simple retaliation. I have a recording of my supervisor stating the fact that Ms. Gonzalez did email him as a result of my reply, and that resulted in my counseling. Ms. Schrum had involved herself extensively in the daily operations of the senior center and even increased her involvement after Amalia Hamilton, a senior center member, addressed this council in January at the recommendation of Councilman Mark Davis. Those allegations were unsubstantiated, which resulted in my vindication by your own city staff. Ms. Hamilton continued to violate the code of conduct. I persisted in addressing her behavior with my supervisor, Mr. Sandoval, but later was instructed by both Ms. Schrum and Mr. Sandoval to cease all corrective actions and just document her behavior regarding this issue. All of this has occurred because Ms. Hamilton was removed for cause from her volunteer coordinator position and because she refuses to accept responsibility for her actions. On several occasions, I addressed Ms. Hamilton's behavior to Mr. Sandoval. My pleas were ignored, and Ms. Hamilton's vindictive behavior continued even to this day. Ms. Hamilton's sole goal since her removal was to get me fired. I, along with the YMCA, have statements to confirm that. She has initiated the distribution of the same false allegations as late as last week, which has caused tension, stress, and anxiety among the senior center membership, resulting in several members being here to voice their concerns and provide the city council a petition. She continues to slander my character and is trying to discredit my question my integrity. Ms. Schrum and Mr. Sandoval colluded together to prevent me from addressing this member's behavior and prevent the documentation of each infraction of her behavior. Therefore, both were complicit in the defamation of my name and character. Ms. Schrum has a bias against me, and I also have a recording when Mr. Sandoval validated that. Ms. Schrum had no authority to involve herself in the YMCA's daily operations of the senior center, and Mr. Sandoval, attempting to appease her, left me no choice but to resign my position. Ms. Hamilton feels empowered to continue her malicious behavior towards me, affecting the membership, which has also resulted in the departure of another YMCA employee and the reassignment of a third employee. 3 out of 4 employees in that center are no longer in the senior center because of Amalia Hamilton, a disgruntled volunteer. It's obvious the problem is with both the city Parks and Rec and the YMCA leadership. Their refusal to deal with Ms. Hamilton's behavior cost the YMCA 2 excellent employees. You should be concerned with that lack of leadership. The city has an obligation to protect its residents and the community. Therefore, the city should consider immediate action to correct this type of behavior. The failure of the YMCA to take action should raise serious concern to question whether the YMCA's contract should be reviewed and whether they are equipped and capable when the time comes for their contract renewal. Their CEO, Mr. Lopez, has not come over and talked with the membership, and that has caused a lot of animosity with the members. Ms. Gonzalez's leadership should also be in question because instead of taking an action against Ms. Shrum for her inappropriate email, she immediately went to my supervisor to question my reply, which you'll find to be professional and fact-focused, and I will present a package to y'all with that information. The City Council has not only the right, but the responsibility and obligation to remove disruptive individuals from their facilities. Finally, I ask that immediate action be taken to revoke Ms. Hamilton's membership due to her continued behavior that consistently violates the Code of Conduct. I am calling on the City Council to take action to address Ms. Gonzalez's and Ms. Shrum's lack of leadership and interference into the YMCA daily operations. I thank you for your time and your consideration. Should I bring the package up?
Excuse me beforehand on this one. Mary Elaine Schlegewald?
Good evening. My name is Mary Elaine Schlegelmilk. I live at 2332 Thomas Wolfe, and I'd like to give my time to Mrs. Mary Fishback.
All right, Ms. Fishback, you'll have 6 minutes. When it's your time, is she next? Okay, all right, we'll hold off.
Doris Aubenbree? Please help me with these. I know you're all very rushed when you sign in. It's just
That's okay. I don't like the last name either.
okay.
My name is Doris Warrenbrock. My address is 121 Meadowlark in Converse, Texas. I am a member of the Y and of the Senior Center, and I'm here in reference to Bob. He has been fantastic. He, as others have said, he takes and spends time with the members. He plays cards with them. He talks to them. If they need any assistance, he's there to do that. And when this came up, again, no one else was approached to see what they felt was going on or that something was going on. I personally feel that Josh is a problem, that he didn't address things. When they came up, he let them keep going. I have on the 11th of April, I emailed Josh and have yet to hear from him. Friday, I called twice his office and left my name and number for him to call me and have yet to hear from him. I also called the CEO of the Y, Mr. Lopez, and have not heard from him. So evidently, they don't want to communicate with us because it doesn't involve Ms. Hamilton. So I think you need to look at that also. That, to me, is a big issue that Bob doesn't have their support. They're not willing to back him. So there you have it.
Martina Anderson?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Martina Anderson, and I live at 124 Kitty Hawk Run in Cibolo. I am a member of the Schertz Senior Center. For the record, I'd like to read and submit to the Mayor and City Council a copy of a petition sent to Luis Lopez, CEO of the YMCA of Greater San Antonio, requesting that he reinstate or rehire Bob Fishback as the Schertz Senior Center's director. Please note that Mr. Lopez has failed to address and or acknowledge our petition, nor has he returned our phone calls. Although it now appears that the Y has made a final decision not to keep Bob, I would like the Mayor and Council to know that the petition was signed by almost 150 members of the Senior Center who still support Bob. I also want to stress that any previous letter of record stating anything other than our support for Bob does not represent our feelings. I understand that Bob was an employee of the YMCA and not the City of Schertz. Therefore, my hope is that the City of Schertz considers our feelings and takes this entire situation into consideration when the YMCA's contract is up for renewal in 2025. A suggestion would be for the city, perhaps in partnership with the City of Cibolo, to operate its own senior center program rather than contracting with an outside entity that does not care about the members' feelings nor supports its director. This would give the city the authority to make the decisions and/or intervene on behalf of the members and the director's interests. The petition signed by almost 150 members reads as follows to Mr. Lopez. As members of the Schertz Senior Center, we want to express our support for Bob Fishback. Since his arrival, Bob has proven to be fair, respectful, supportive, caring, communicative, and personable to the members. Our signatures on this petition represent our respect and support for him. As the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater San Antonio, we ask that you extend to Bob the same support, consideration, and open communication by rehiring and reinstating him as the director of the Schertz Senior Center. As I indicated, I'd like to submit this for the record. Bob has our support. To let one member bring this down shows that there's a weakness in the system. Thank you for your time.
Will Klaus.
Good evening. My name is William Klaus, and I'm a resident 6938 Robin Hood Way in Schertz, Texas, and a proud veteran of the United States Navy. So I'm very selective when it comes to choosing close friends, and I usually observe people over time to ensure they possess qualities like honesty, compassion, integrity, fairness, and self-control. With Bob Fishback, I didn't have to observe him too long to know that he had all of these virtues. Bob routinely demonstrates his character and behavior in the most challenging situations. When Bob informed me he had been offered a job at as director of the Senior Center, I was thrilled. Like many others, I knew Bob was the perfect person for this position. After more than a year as a director, Bob confided in me that he had a volunteer at the center who was misbehaving. He notified his leadership and dutifully addressed the issue. Then, at a forum just like this one, the same individual made allegations against Bob, which were investigated and determined to be unfounded. I asked Bob if these findings had been shared with the person who filed the complaint. Not only did his leadership not want to disclose the investigation outcome to the complainant, they also directed Bob to not address the individual's continued inappropriate behavior. Even though their actions seemed scandalous, Bob followed his leadership's direction. Several months later, Bob again seemed very distressed. He shared a troubling email that he had received from a colleague. The following are excerpts from that email. From Lauren Schrum, sent Friday, 24 March. Hi, Bob. Let me be clear in this email because I guess I'm not being understood in the conversations I've had with you and Josh. You can't have a meeting today with the board. We just discussed consistency in meeting dates in our previous email regarding the April meeting date. The emergency board meetings need to stop. They fuel the up and down chaotic wave we've all been riding in the last few months. The meeting called last week to elect/appoint a new secretary should have never happened. It should have been on the agenda for the April meeting. I received the resignation letter via email yesterday, and I'm very upset to read the reasoning. It was presented to me as if the drama for members is what led her to step down, but it clearly states the power struggle between the board and the center management, which would include you in that equation. Why don't the board members feel supported? Maybe because of recent staff actions. One person's actions, Ms. Hamilton, isn't causing all of these other members to feel unsupported. Lastly, My advice from the beginning was to slow down all the knee-jerk reactions, like calling emergency board meetings or feeling the need to urgently address some minor behavior, and focus on speeding up the response to basic administrative functions we need for compliance for federally funded programs. It's a lot more than just this email, but in my mind, this colleague / self-appointed leader was making some serious accusations and really didn't care if the membership ran amok. They just wanted the paperwork to be in order. Thank you.
Tammy Kennedy.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Kennedy, and I live at 3712 Pebble Beach. I'm here on behalf of the Bluebonnet village, or whatever they're building, and I oppose it. I also want to say another reason I oppose it is because if you look right now at the condition of the property, their grass is not cut. We have to cut our grass, make sure it's under 8 inches. Why don't they? I can tell ahead of time they're not going to have it. They're not going to do as they say. We have too many cars as it is going in and out of 2 different exits. You add all the other people that are coming, that is going to be a terrible problem. There are very little safety for our children, and the only place that they do feel safe is in their backyards. And now you're going to take that away from them. Thank you.
Mary Graham.
My name is Mary Graham. I live at 3701 Hillside in Schertz, and I've been there for 17 years. I'm speaking about the Bluebonnet edition, probably not the one that you're thinking about tonight. I have seen that there is a potential new proposal for duplexes. I've seen pictures. We know that something is going to be built there. The duplexes look very nice, and I'm in favor of that project.
Bill Jackson.
My name is Phil Jackson, 3410 Wimbledon Drive. As you know, I've spoken to you many times, and I am in opposition to the current project that's being proposed for the golf course. I want to make a point to point out a few things to you all. First off, we've heard support from several members here tonight. I want to point out that support is coming out of one neighborhood who is contractually obligated to support the developer. They are under contract to support. So just wanted to point that out. Beyond that, that contract you saw came out as a surprise to us in one of the council meetings that we had. We were unaware of this. And the other HOAs were caught off guard. We expressed our concerns, and at that point, the developer still had not reached out to meet with us after that point. Later, the vote went to a 3-3 tie, in which the mayor broke that tie in support of the developer. At that time, we thought we had a supermajority with the 20%, but we didn't understand the math behind that. That was 20% of the property, not 20% of the homes surrounding the property. So the developer had a 4-3 vote in their favor, and we came back to a further vote. In that time, we as a community rallied, and we gained a supermajority. At that time, finally, the developer wanted to reach out and talk to us because they knew they were beat. That tells me their concern is not so much with what we are hoping and wanting in our neighborhood. It's about doing what they need to do to get their product through to make the profit that they're hoping to make off of the property. If they made a bad investment on this property, not running the numbers and listening to a broker that may or may not have given them some numbers that they could have made out of this, that was their risk. They took that risk. If that risk does not fall through for them, then it is what it is. But please don't allow that bad investment on their part become a negative for us. As a community, we are expressing, please do not allow something this dense to come in. It is a density issue. We've heard it many times, but the density is the bottom line. Please do not allow this to come in. Thank you.
Heather Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Heather Jackson. I live at 3410 Wimbledon Drive. The neighborhoods of Northcliffe are a unique and beautiful community. We are a diverse group of people that come from 6 different HOAs. Some of us are in the thick of raising our families, while others are in their retirement years. Some of us have lived in the Northcliffe area for 40 years, while others are new. But no matter what walk of life we are all in, all of us have come together with a shared passion for our neighborhood. I am absolutely honored to call my neighbors friends. I am honored to work alongside them to preserve the integrity of our neighborhoods. I don't know if the council will vote tonight on the proposed townhome development or if the developer is going to resubmit his application with a duplex product. Since I don't know his plans, I will focus my thoughts on the townhome development since it is the current application at hand. I will share my thoughts on the duplex proposal when and if that time comes. If the townhomes come to a vote this evening, please keep in mind our core concerns. Even after all these months, they still hold true. The density of this product is not appropriate for the land in the middle of our neighborhoods. The traffic the density will bring to our already overcrowded roads will only serve to create more issues for existing residents, while also creating even more of a safety hazard for our children. I could say more, but I think at this point in the process, you all know my concerns and where I stand on this matter. I would like to take a moment to give you an update on the Public Improvement District. We are making headway. Just as we imagined, it is a lot of work. And just as we said, we are working hard to get that work done. We are currently working on making sure the homeowners are educated on what a PID is and what we are trying to accomplish. Our next step is to do a preliminary poll to see how everyone feels about the PID moving forward and what price, if any, is worth it. We are also regularly having conversations with the broker of the land, keeping him up to date on our progress. The mayor asked us at the PID workshop back in March why the townhome land wasn't being included in the PID. He asked why we are picking and choosing. The fact is, we aren't picking and choosing. We don't want to. We have always wanted to include the townhome land. Because how do you choose what land is more important than others? The answer is you don't. All of the land is equally important. We would love to have real, honest conversations about including the townhome land in the PID, but the fact is we can't at this time. While I appreciate the developer's efforts to meet with the HOAs, I wish that those candid conversations with all of the HOAs could have been had much earlier. The fact is the developer negotiated and made deals with one of the surrounding HOAs. Contracts were signed, that HOA is now contractually bound, and those honest conversations about the PID are a challenge due to the contracts in place. We want to have these conversations so that we can get accurate information out to all of the residents so that they can make an informed decision rather than it being made for them. Unfortunately, the actions of the developer to only negotiate with a portion of the affected HOAs have created a challenging situation for us. But please know this, we do not shy away from challenges. We will continue to try to present accurate information to all the surrounding residents, even if there are roadblocks along the way. We will continue to work hard at securing all of the land we can for our fellow neighbors to enjoy. Please remember, if you vote this evening, that the proposed townhome product with its high density is not appropriate for our neighborhood. Thank you for your time and your support of the neighborhood we love. We are Northcliffe, and we're working hard to keep it the best Northcliffe it can be. Thank you.
Steve Gooding.
City Council, and all the residents of Schertz. My name is Steve Gooding, and I live on Fairways Drive in Northcliffe. I can't add much. In fact, that was a hard act to follow, the two Jacksons and the First Lady too. But the one that affected me the most is the opening prayer. Okay? That was a planned community when that was built in North Cliff. This is not a part of our planned community. If you vote for this, it opens the door for other developers, and there's more land for sale. And how are you going to oppose the future developers if you say yes to this one? It's going to be hard to oppose them. And all of a sudden, we don't have a planned community at all. Those are single-family homes. There's not an apartment complex. There's not duplexes that I know of. There's rentals. That's good. That's okay. And being able to sell your properties, okay. No problem. But this is the wrong development, and I oppose it. And I will oppose future developments because this is a planned community we live in. And to be changing that is going to change our way of life. I not only live in a house, I live in a home, and I live in a community, and that community is part of my home. It's part of my home. And all the ones that spoke up, I can't add to the ones that have already spoken through the weeks against this. There's only been a few people that's been for it, and you know what they say? They say, well, we don't know what we're going to get in the future. That's the problem. There's more land out there. And there will be more developers that try to grab it up if you vote for this. Build some single-family dwellings with beautiful green spaces. Sell them for $500,000 or $600,000. That'll work. Thank you for your time.
Sandra Davis.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and City Manager. My name is Sandra Davis. I live at 2644 Gallant Fox Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I come to you on behalf of more than 700 plus senior citizens who are members of the Senior Center. In 2017, the city of Schertz spent over $850,000 to fund renovations of the senior center and more than $300,000 annually since then to fund operations and maintenance. Recently, the YMCA decided to let our beloved director, Bob Fishback, go. This has upset many of us who observe Bob giving us all the care and attention you could ask for on a daily basis. His commitment to us has been unfaltering, compassionate, and consistent. Many of us have tried to contact the YMCA CEO to better understand the circumstances and have heard nothing. Although today I did hear from Mr. Lopez, and all I got was the runaround, and he wasn't aware of this Mrs. Hamilton passing a letter around in our senior center that she had, I guess, for the council or whoever. But he did finally get in touch with me after numerous emails and numerous calls, messages, and all. We understand that the complaint of one person has resulted in Bob's departure. Request that council investigate the circumstances surrounding Bob's resignment. This is a place many of us call second home. We believe Bob has been unjustifiably pressured to leave with no explanations from the YMCA. We understand from no information acceptable I tried to, and I just get the runaround back and forth. I know there's privacy and all this other stuff, but I don't know why Mr. Lopez can't come to our center. This is a public-funded program by our community with oversight and representation provided by this council. On behalf of the petitioners, we ask our representatives to inquire into the circumstances of Bob's removal, and if possible, we'll reinstate him, which I know they're not gonna. If it's not possible, then we ask that the procedure be put in place to ensure that this type of treatment of what we have observed by an outstanding director not happen again without due process. Thank you again for your opportunity to speak with you today. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Bruno Andino.
Afternoon, my name's Anna Brunandino, 3701 Columbia Drive. I'll make this short because like I said last time, I get up at 0400 every day to be at work. My main two concerns still remain, which is the high density and then what would this do to our homes. As I mentioned before, foundation seems to be a really big problem. Now, this weekend we had a neighborhood garage sale. And I know, I love those because I finally get to meet some of the neighbors I don't get to talk to. So armed with $20 in my pocket, I go out and my objective is to meet as many of my neighbors and try to find as many unique things as I can for Christmas. Now, I managed to hit, when you come through like the Scenic Hills area, it's a close community, so I was excited to finally meet those neighbors. They give you a map. It was said there was only 5 garage sales. It turned out there was about 24 of them. I managed to get about half of them. Now, after the 10 or 12 one, I started noticing a common theme, and it was people's worries. And most of the worries was, have you heard what's happening with the golf course? And I told yes, them, because multiple people I talked to. Most of them were concerned. Most of them felt like the city council maybe turned their back on them. Most of them felt like, well, why should I try to go to the meetings? They already did a back deal, and I always tell them, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but here's the information that I do know. Here's the resources that I know. Here's the YouTube channel so you can see the city council meetings. Now, this was shortly followed after they expressed that concern about the density, what that's going to do to our neighborhood. They go, I've had foundation plans, like me too. I've had 2 in 1 year, like I've been here 10, 15, 20 years. I've had to repair my foundation over and over and over and over again. And at the end, most of them finished by saying, why would they subject more new people to this problem? A lot of the houses, almost every house that I talked to there, but I had the chance to really chat with them, they'll share the same concern. The density, what would this, foundation's an issue. Why expose more people to this? So with that, I'll make it short. Like I said, my concern with the overdevelopment is what would this do to the density? To the density of the area. Sorry, again, I get up at 4 in the morning. And, would this exacerbate the well-known problem in the area with the burst pipes, the constant having to repair the foundations, and are you guys willing to expose more people to that problem? Especially when you start getting to multi-unit. I lived in townhomes before. It is a mess to try to fix anything. If there's a roof, you have to get 4 or 5 people and the HOA to coordinate to fix it. So that's my concern. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Brad Weberg.
Good evening. My name is Brad Weberg. I live at 3809 Overlook, and I appreciate each of your service and your time this evening. And I thank the developers and the associates for their work and willingness in talking with other HOAs to develop a cohesive support for this I endorse the Bluebonnet development. The design is very attractive. It looks as good as any two-story house in the neighborhood. It doesn't have the appearance of apartments. They've done some good work there. The price range of these homes are beneficial for the area development. And in some cases, it actually, I believe, enhances the neighborhood. I was surprised to learn that 50% of the dwellings in Northcliffe are rentals. It would seem like the development's proposal fits into the scheme of things there. The price range of these proposed Bluebonnet development is in the range of the mid to upper mid income families, and that would enhance our area. You may have some work to do on access and safety, but that should be done regardless of the development or not. So I sincerely see benefit for the Bluebonnet, and hope you can get it off your plate tonight. Thank you.
Maggie Eigel.
Good evening. My name is Maggie Eigel. I live at 3712 Hunters Glen in Schertz, and I recognize many of you, and I thank you for your time here. First of all, I want to set a couple of records straight. Our people from Scenic Hills aren't under contract that we have to go along with anything. But one of the concerns I have is people's attitude about this development. I lived in a townhome surrounded by million-dollar homes. And when there was a field on one side that was open for development, and this unit was 225 units. I happened to be on the HOA board for 10 years. And it did not diminish the value of our neighborhood. In fact, when the open field came, the other part was developed with further million-dollar homes. So some of these concerns, I know that there needs to be roads addressed. There's definitely that concern, and I feel as though people are putting the cart before the horse. You have to do testing. You have to make sure. One concern I would be making sure is on this side of 35, we have foundation problems, the ground moves. Whatever plan is developed, make sure that it's built quality-wise so that it can withstand the movement of the land here in Texas. Thank you.
Diane Weberg.
Good evening. My name is Diane Weberg, and I live at 3809 Overlook Drive in Schertz, Texas. And I want to thank you for listening to us in regard to this development issue. It's probably been going on longer than you have wanted. And I am here to endorse the development of the villas of Bluebonnet. I do see this as a very positive thing for our community. Even though there's going to be a lot of work to do, like others have said, with the roads, I know that you guys will take care of it. But I'm here just to say I'm endorsing this. Thank you.
James Riedel.
Evening.
My name's James Radell, 3433 Charleston Lane, Cibolo. When my wife and I bought our house on Charleston, we were given regulations, upkeep. Now that the golf course has been abandoned and there's no upkeep, there's different people that own that golf course property. I've seen numerous times code compliance come by and stick their banners in people's front yards in different areas. You have to get your yard or your neighborhood back in shape. Well, I don't see any of that going on with this abandoned golf course right now. Nobody's mowing the grass. We have a bunch of dead trees that are falling over, and you know, the whole thing looks terrible right now. And this one developer that has bought a piece of that property, nothing's being taken care of in that area either. So I'd say, you know, get your code compliance people out there and get on them and get this, you know, where things look decent anyway. You're not going to get it all back in perfect shape, but it needs to be made decent. If it was just an individual, you'd be all over us.
Othan Warner.
Good evening. My name is Othan Warner. I live at 3717 Hunters Glen. Excuse me. I am in favor of the Bluebonnet Villas, but I would like to preface that with, I think the onus is on the city planner and city council to make sure that all the hoops that need to be jumped through for a successful project and a good living neighborly space is held to account by all of you. The developer doesn't get a free hand to do whatever if you decide to pass this project. It has to be accountable. All the traffic concerns have to be addressed. The water runoff concerns have to be addressed. All the ecological concerns have to be addressed. And you're the ones we're going to hold accountable for that.
Richard Mouse.
Richard Moss, 3434 Wimbledon Drive. I'm against ordinance 23-S-02 and would like you to deny this at this time. This is the same project that was pushed out last year with very, very little change, and it was at that point denied. The first item I would like to talk about is how the application was handled. In my opinion, the city staff should have reviewed the application and handed it back to the applicant with the UDC reference. The current Unified Development Code of Schertz lays out what different districts are. A PDD, I understand, gets so that the variances can be all packaged together. This project here has nothing to do with townhomes. First and foremost, none of the property out here should be developed as multifamily. The number one thing in multifamily is that it does not generate traffic, any traffic, through the residential neighborhoods. Now, I've heard other people come up here, well, it's great that we have something new and shiny out here, but that doesn't have anything to do with the traffic. We've had people talk about all these different things, but the traffic doesn't change. And no multi-family homes should be put in any of these areas until that is resolved, first and foremost. And the city staff has talked about it at great lengths, that there is no plan in place to deal with traffic. They've all agreed that traffic here is a problem. We've had people that talked about the new and shiny, and then, oh, by the way, there's too much traffic. Well, it has to be, the traffic has to be dealt with before anything else. Anybody else that comes in here is not concerned with the traffic. Only you guys are. Now you go to the UDC. Prevent the overcrowding of land and avoid undue concentration or diffusion of population. Protect and conserve the value of land throughout the city and the value of buildings and improvements upon the land, and to minimize the conflicts among the uses. And then our big one, lessen congestion in the streets and provide convenient, safe, efficient circulation for vehicular and pedestrian traffic. This is what the city of Schertz put out as their unified development code. Nobody else. The city of Schertz put that out. And if you want to be responsible, then you would follow what your people put out there. There was a reason they put all these things in here. It wasn't just so we could talk about them. These are very, very important things, and the city spent a lot of time doing this, and you all have a copy of it. This is not new. This has been going on for 8 months. It should never, ever have been gotten out of the city staff. There's no reason for it, because it does not fit. It's not appropriate to put multi-family homes in any of these areas until the infrastructure is upgraded. First, last, always.
Janet Wilson.
Janet Wilson, 3805 Overlook Drive. I'm a Scenic Hills resident, and I care about all of the communities surrounding the proposed development, and I am opposed to Bluebonnet Ridge Villas. And I guess I'm thinking like Phil Jackson today. I'm tired of worrying about the developer and whether he's going to make money or not. You know, we were here before he showed up. And he's not concerned about us. He wants to put a row of townhomes right along the fence line of existing residents. All he has to do is propose single-family homes, and he could be building now. Thank you.
Tom Wilson.
Hello, my name's Tom Wilson. I live at 3805 Overlook Drive in Scenic Hills. I'll start this off by saying that I am against this development proposal. I don't think it's right for the community. It's not just for Scenic Hills, it's for the entire community. The density is overwhelming, and if I see, or if we find that you approve this development, this starts, it really is going to draw a lot more interest for other parts of the golf course to be developed, and this is just going to multiply many times over. We already have problems with traffic, which we've already discussed in previous meetings. I have members of our homeowners association here tonight. They have stated they support this. I totally respect that. They have a right to their opinion. They feel that way about it. I have no problem with that, as long as they made a good, honest evaluation of what's going to take place. I really like living in Scenic Hills, and I really like the people that live there. I just think we've made some mistakes along the way. One of the mistakes that we've made that is crawling up my backside more than anything is the community has said that, or a member of our community has said that Scenic Hills supports this development. I've said this in a previous meeting and I'll say it again, that is not true. There is a certain amount of our residents that approve it. And again, I'm okay with that. But I don't think everybody has had that opportunity. And that's been brought to the gentleman's attention 3 different times. He's had more than ample time to address this, to run a poll, and it still has not happened. So that's where I stand. I'm not here because of me or looking out just for my interests. We have a lot of other people within the neighborhood and new residents that have come into the neighborhood that have not been informed, have not had an opportunity to give their opinion. And I think that is wrong. So I just want to leave you with that. I hope you do not support this proposal. It's just not right for our community. Thank you for your time.
Sandra Basham.
I'm Sandra Basham. I live at 125 Falcon Drive in Cibolo.
It wasn't called. I'm Kathleen Chipman, 20 years at 201 Windberg, and we were here for a presentation.
We have a presentation to the mayor.
For the mayor.
For a quilt that was made by the members of the Good Samaritan Oncology Support Group, and we meet at the Senior Center every Wednesday from 1 to 4. And we have made a quilt.
Totally unexpected, out of the agenda. Sorry about that. But it has a special meeting since my wife is twice cancer survivor. Thank you so much.
Micheline Sutton.
My name is Micheline Sutton. I live at 805 Maple Drive in Schertz. I am part of a group that is 20 years old. We are quilters, and we quilt for cancer patients. For the last 20 years, we have met at the senior housing on Schertz Parkway. We were asked to leave last June, and thanks to Bob Fishback, we found a home at the senior center. All of us joined in December. We were pleasantly surprised. Bob was very professional. He was courteous, and he listened. This is a rare quality. Most people brush you off. We're not that important. But Bob took the time to listen. On the 5th of April, as I was walking from my car to the entrance of the senior center, this woman named Amelia that I had met 25 years ago, briefly. I don't know her last name. She proceeded to badmouth Bob, and I took it for just a silly gossip. She was saying that he was a terrible manager, and she was just rambling. I decided to not pay attention. On April 12th, at noon, I was emptying the trunk of my car, and this car comes behind me. I noticed the passenger window going down, and it was this same Amelia. She was just hysterically happy. She was shouting, and she kept saying, "I got rid of him. I finally got rid of him. Bob is gone, gone, gone." I couldn't speak. That's unusual for me. I hope that this horrible situation for Bob and his family will be resolved. And I thank you for taking the time to listen.
Thank you.
Arturo Lopez. Ida Lopez. Okay. Jan Baldwin.
My name is Jan Baldwin, and I live at 3401 Columbia Drive in Schertz. I'm here tonight to address not only the applicant seeking the rezoning of the 25 acres in Northcliffe, but to address zoning changes and variance given to the UDC of Schertz in general. Let us answer some questions in regard to the UDC. The Unified Development Code is adopted to promote, improve, and provide for the public health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of this great city. In what way does it protect, promote, and improve the public safety, general welfare of the 5 housing areas surrounding this area? Or the city, for that matter. Increased traffic and dense population does not do that. When we began all of this last year, the city was looking for an area that former residents could return to and purchase housing in order to become valuable citizens in the city that they grew up. Does this rezoning do this? No, it does not. In what way does this rezoning ensure the safe, orderly, and efficient development of the city as stated in the UDC? And if no studies have been conducted as to the traffic, the water runoff, and the emergency services the changing of this zoning would require? Does this change conserve, develop, and promote the natural resources in keeping with the public interest? The city set lot sizes and codes to prevent the overdeveloping of the land with the UDC. Why are variances just handed out? We need to keep the UDC to prevent the overcrowding of the city. Does this approval prevent the overcrowding of the land and avoid undue concentration or diffusion of the population? No, it does not. It in fact does the opposite. Does this protect and conserve the value of the land throughout the city and the value of buildings and improvements upon the land and minimize the conflicts among the uses of the land and building? It does not. In what way does granting this rezoning provide for open space, and does it provide convenient, safe, and efficient vehicular and pedestrian traffic? No, it does not. These are all stated in the UDC, but the answer to these questions are definitely no. Then why are we considering these changes if they don't follow the UDC? Why do we have a UDC? In addition to some of the other questions, should we consider prior to granting variances and rezoning? Is the variance or rezoning contrary to the citizens' public interest? In this rezoning case tonight, it most definitely is. Does the property in question still have a reasonable use without the zoning change or variance? Yes. Does the variance or rezoning deviate from the master plan of the city? Yes. Are economics the only reason for granting the rezoning or variance, or are any special provisions being given without respect to the current citizens who live in the city? Yeah, there are, because they're not following the UDC. The lot sizes are smaller. They're applying already for a variance of that size. Will the property still have value without the variance or rezoning? Yes. In this case, will the builder still be able to build on the property? Yes, just less density. They will make money, just not as much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Reed Carr.
My name is Reed Carr. I live at 3509 Columbia Drive in Northcliffe. I, too, am opposed to the Blue Bonnet Villas, and I think everything that needs to be said has been said. Just vote no.
Dennis Elliott.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Elliott. I live at 117 White Rock in Cibolo and 2567 Smoky Creek in Schertz. I served for 24 years, and now I have cancer and cannot hear out of my left ear. The doctors predicted that I would be gone by 2007. Now they say I am a miracle. I am not here to tell you about my life. I am here to talk about what I feel is unfair fees that have been applied to my property taxes. March 27, 2023, I went to the tax office with a check for $1,675.19 to make what I thought was my second payment on my 2022 taxes. The lady at the counter asked me if the check for this year's taxes or last year's taxes. I asked her to stop joking around. She said I did not pay my last payment for 2021. I told her if I did not pay my last payment, they would have notified me and charged me $60. She told me they have been adding fees. I told her I will be back with my receipt. I checked my records, and I must agree that the lady was right. I did not pay the last payment in 2021. My question is, if I missed the payment July 22, why was I not notified in August 22? I came to the tax office January 13, 2023, and the tax office set me up for quarterly payments for 2023. I paid $1,675.19, which is 1/4 of the full payment. The representative that took my money did not say anything about our old money from last year. I asked, if your children steal from Walmart and you know it, do you tell him he is wrong after the police catch him? On March 28, 2023, I went back to the tax office to talk to the supervisor. After not sleeping all night, the supervisor provided me with more stress. She told me that I am not allowed to pay quarterly because I homestead at 117 White Rock. In reality, I sleep at 117 White Rock when my grandchildren are around, and I sleep at 2567 Smoky Creek when my grandchildren are not around. My wife sleeps at 2567 Smoky Creek all the time. The supervisor informed me I must pay $7,047.40 by the end of May, or there will be more fees. I told her I have been paying quarterly since 2017 when I bought my house on White Rock. It was this office that okayed it. I do not know what homesteading is. I asked her about the $1,126.78 worth of fees. She told me I need to talk to Darryl John because he's the only one that can dismiss the fees. I talked to Darryl John by email. He dismissed $603.06. He said I need to pay $5,378.40 by April 15, 2023 to avoid any more fees.
Thank you, sir. Your time's up.
Bill Edmonds.
Yes, it's me again. My name is Bill Edmonds, 4909 Crestwood Drive. I am the president of the Northcliffe HOA Association. We have met several times with the developer. They have made some concessions. They still do not fit our needs. There's over 1,600 single-family homes in the greater Northcliffe area with the 5 HOAs that are there. They now want to put, they've lowered it down, there's going to be about, around 180 or so. We've said, what about 120, 150? Oh, we can't do that, we can't make money. Okay, what about single-family homes? Oh, we can't do that, we can't make money. They should have thought of that before they went off and spent all that money for the property. If they knew they couldn't put something on it that fit the community, why did they invest in it? Because they figured that you're going to get tired of seeing them and us. We're going to get tired of coming in and going to all these meetings to protest it, and they'll get it passed through. It's simply a waiting game for them now. Keeps coming up about your uniform code. And you've all sworn to do what's right for the city. That should mean follow what the city code says. Everybody who votes against this, you're following what you should be doing. If you vote for it, you're voting for a violation of what you swore to do, and also you're violating the uniform code that you should be upholding. They keep bringing up about traffic. Last time we met with the builders, the developer said, oh, we've seen engineering studies that show that traffic would be okay. Simple question, those studies can account for one-way roadways? With the width of the roadways in Northcliffe, if you have a car parked on both sides of a highway or roadway, cars coming in the opposite direction must stop and let each other go. It's technically turned everything into one-way roadways. The only one is Mayfair, which does not have parking on one side of the street. That's the only one that is open. And that only runs from Wedgwood to where it turns on a cherry tree. So it's going to back up before there, it's going to back up after there. There's no way you can take the amount of duplexes they're going to put in there with the amount of people that are going to be in those duplexes and put that traffic through Northcliffe in any manageable way. Unless you want to go off and buy the front yards of several of the houses on the roadways so you can widen the streets, that's your only solution. Do your duty. Do what you swore to do. Follow the city code.
Susan de Graffenried.
I thought I'd have to do it for you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name's Susan de Graffenried. I live at 5140 Columbia. My wife and I have lived there for about 14 years. In the past 14 years, we have grown to love our neighborhood and the Schertz-Cibolo area. In fact, I believe I live in the best neighborhood in Texas. I know that because I see people move out and then I see people move back in. I also have had residents that have moved away tell me how much they miss our neighborhood because they come back on the holidays like Halloween and Christmas to celebrate with us. I mention all of this because we are just one neighborhood that is being impacted by this development of Bluebonnet. Over the past several weeks, I have found out mine is not the only amazing neighborhood. In fact, I live within a community of neighborhoods that are built with the most amazing humans you will ever meet. And the very best of those humans have been attending every one of these city meetings concerning the development. Many have stood here and told you their thoughts and concerns time after time. Each time the same message, because it doesn't appear you are hearing what we're saying. I know you are listening, but I don't know that you are really hearing what you are being told. Then there's this PID advisory board. People from all over these neighborhoods, retired, working, single, married, families, those that have family members in and out of the hospital, medical issues of their own. The one common attribute for each of these individuals is that they care tremendously for their community, so much so that they attend multiple meetings in a week. They spend time talking with lawyers, homeowners, realtors, HOA boards, and developers, and they do it all because they really do care. I tell you about these people because I ask you to hear them. Know that when they talk, they are talking for many. They are talking for those unable to speak for themselves, yet also needing to be heard. Lastly, I wanted to go back to the first city council meeting on this development. If you could please go back in your memory banks to that night when the developer presented the first plan to build 220 fourplexes. The overwhelming response from several of the council members was to chastise us as homeowners because we did not want to provide lower income housing in our community. In fact, we were told we should be ashamed of ourselves for not wanting this type of housing in our community, something that would allow children, grown children, to be able to afford a place that they could live in the same city as their parents. So now we've gone from 220 fourplexes to possible $600,000 duplexes or $275,000 to $300,000 townhomes. That does not sound affordable to me. And I don't think it sounds affordable to anybody else. I thank you for your time. Ms. Haywood, I thank you for supporting us by wearing green tonight.
Elizabeth Mullinex. Elizabeth Mullinex. Dana Giggy.
My name is Dana Giggy, and I live at 3825 Overlook Drive in Schertz, Texas, in the Scenic Hills community. When they first presented it, we all opposed it because it was going to be mostly rentals by out of town. The developer has worked to give us something that we think will be a benefit to us. It's going to be an improvement. It's never going to be a golf course again. Single family, people want single family. I drove through 2 newer neighborhoods, single family neighborhoods in the last couple of weeks. They were horrible. There were cars parked both sides of the street the whole way. You couldn't, so I don't know what's so great about that and how it's going to make traffic better. I think this is going to be great. I want to see something developed on that golf course. I can't wait for the other side so that the horrible, ugly, falling apart, boarded up clubhouse can get torn down, and I won't feel quite so bad when I drive by it. I'm looking around. I know infrastructure usually follows. Look at 1103. It's like 15 years too late, but it's coming. I was looking at Country Club today, and I'm thinking it wouldn't take much to make this 4 lanes. You just make the medians a little bit narrow and make it 4 lanes, and it would work. I would really like to see this go through. I'd like to see something on the golf course, something that would be beneficial, that would make our neighborhood better. I think it will make our neighborhood better by having some more higher-end, well-developed neighborhoods. The foundation issue, it's a foundation issue. Whether they build or not, the foundation issues are going to be there. And I don't know what the other neighborhoods want. Have they ever said anything that they want it developed as other than single-family homes? Maybe we could make it a cemetery, and then we wouldn't have to worry about traffic or noise or parking or anything. But please, please, please consider approving this as the developer has presented it. We're ready to move on and improve our neighborhood.
Let's have a little more respect for the person that's speaking here, please.
Donald Dendy.
Hey, good evening. I'm Donald Dendy, or Don Dendy, from 3149 Cameron River, Schertz. That's in the Fairway Ridge community, and appreciate my neighbor talking about 1103. Schertz and TxDOT are working together to, I've never believed in conspiracy theories, but I think they're conspiring to get us out of the neighborhood, destroying everything around us. 1103 was graded up to our fence line of our community on there in front of Fairway Ridge, and they stopped somewhere in late December. It now has grass growing over whatever they did, and they put a bunch of wire stuff and all out there, and it just looks like a garbage dump all the way up to our fence line. But they haven't come back to do anything. I don't know if there's a delay of funds or whatever, but we got that. We got 35 where they're going to double deck it so we get extra sound coming to us. People have cut the trees down on city property that's right behind us there, between us and a section of the golf course. I do live right by the golf course, and the golf course is the main reason I came here, though. Would like to express my opposition to the development of the golf course. I can just, if it's approved as it is, there's 2 other sections of property that this will just set a precedent for development in a similar fashion. And that is not what we need. It's like, I appreciate the opinions of others, but my opinion is not the same. Single-family homes are what this community was designed for. We had golf course there before. We can put homes where the golf course was, but let's keep it in the same venue, same theme that we have, single-family homes. That is what we have there. That is what we should put there. And I want the guys to make money that bought the property, but I don't want them to destroy our community. I think you've heard a little bit about traffic through there. If you want to get an idea about the traffic through there, come by at about 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning, any day of the week, and try to get out of part of our communities. We have it pretty good because we're close to 1103, but the people who are in the other communities farther back, they have to wind around, and putting this development there is just going to add to that stress every day. I can only, because I work, I'm a service member, 37 plus years. I was open to retire here. That may not happen now if we have all of this stuff going on. But when I come in like around 5 and when I leave at like 6:30 in the morning, it is just crazy with the traffic through there. How are we going to support all of these people with the extra density? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Michelle Swisher.
Hi, thank y'all for listening to us. My name is Michelle Swisher, 6105 Mule Deer. I live in Fairhaven. I oppose the townhomes coming into our community. I think the Northcliffe communities have all come together, all the HOAs. We consider ourselves a community now, and everyone can see and talks about the same things. The density with all those units coming in. Traffic is so bad. I have lived there 14 years. My daughter bought a house in the Links at Scenic Hills 2 years ago so she could be close to us, and she liked the neighborhood that we lived in. I think other things could be done to the area. I realize it's not a golf course anymore, but I think there's so many things that we could do in our area that would make the city of Schertz a better place to be. I know there'll be something there, but I just think putting all those people in one place is not gonna help with anything. I appreciate the people that have voted against the townhomes, and I hope everyone else will listen to what everyone's saying and come visit our community. It's wonderful. All the people in all the communities are wonderful, and we just are trying to be a big community, and I guess we'll be called the Northcliffe communities, with the former golf course that maybe could be some parks or some recreation for the kids or for senior citizens. There's a lot of things that could be done there. It's right off 35, and it would be good access for those kind of things. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you.
Mayor, that's the last citizen to be heard tonight. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought your time was split. Let me call Maria Fishback. My fault.
I get 6 minutes, right? Because Ms.
Yeah.
Elaine, okay.
Yes, I believe you were given 6 minutes.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm sorry.
My name is Maria Fishback. I live at 140 Dufall Trail in Cibolo. Good evening, Mayor Gutierrez, Mr. Williams, and City Council members. We are here this evening because of two injustices. First, the lack of YMC leadership and involvement by the Parks and Recs Director, Lauren Schrum, and her supervisor, Sarah Gonzalez, in not informing Amalia Hamilton that her claim, which was brought before the City Council in January of this year at the recommendation of Councilman Davis, had been investigated, unsubstantiated, and to cease and desist in her behavior, or her membership would be revoked. And second, Bob Fishback's resignation and the circumstances surrounding it. Ms. Hamilton has been afforded several meetings with city staff and Y leadership, and yet no one at any one of these meetings ever informed her of the outcome. Why? Since she came before the council, why didn't the city inform her of the outcome of the investigation? The city has the right to remove disruptive people from their buildings. Yet Ms. Shrum and Ms. Gonzalez point to the Y as responsible party, even though they involved themselves in Y operations and gave opinions and recommendations about Y personnel. Ms. Hamilton knows that what she said about Bob is untrue, yet her personal vendetta to get Bob fired has consumed her. She went around the center trying to enlist the help of the membership with her plan. She quickly realized that the membership loved and supported Bob, not her. On Tuesday, April 11th, I had a conversation with Y Supervisor Josh Sandoval and pleaded with him to do the right thing by Bob. I reminded Mr. Sandoval that he did not do the right thing by our son last year when he was employed at the Aquatic Center. There seems to be a pattern of mismanagement and bad leadership. I even told him that Ms. Hamilton was not going to stop. I recorded this conversation and I will make it available if you'd like to listen. Later that same day, Bob was told by Mr. Sandoval that the Y leadership had decided that Tuesday would be his last day. Bob was not allowed to work his 2 weeks, was not afforded the same courtesies extended to Ms. Hamilton, and was not given the opportunity to address the membership about his departure. When Ms. Hamilton learned that Bob had left, she came back to the center gloating, saying, "We got Bob fired," walking around the center like a peacock and passing out candy, only to find out again that the membership was not going to have any of this. Knowing that she still did not have their support, she tried again to discredit Bob by passing out copies of her speech from her city council's 3 minutes of fame, again to no avail. On March 7th, the Y CEO, Luis Lopez, stood before you with his speech and PowerPoint about his partnership with the city. Why hasn't he come to speak personally to the membership? Why has Mr. Lopez allowed one of his directors to be treated so poorly by Mr. Sandoval, Ms. Shrum, and Ms. Gonzalez? What untruths were provided to him by Mr. Sandoval? The bottom line is, why has Ms. Hamilton's behavior been condoned? The membership is being lectured by Mr. Sandoval to be respectful, to be kind. They were also told to sit down and be quiet. How condescending and disrespectful. Yet Ms. Hamilton does whatever she wants. Is this the type of leadership we want at the senior center? Mr. Sandoval is in over his head. He lacks the proper training and experience. In consultation with upper Y management, Ms. Shrum and Ms. Gonzalez, his directive to Bob was to let it die. Bob repeatedly told Mr. Sandoval that unless Ms. Hamilton was informed that her claim was unsubstantiated and to cease and desist, that she would not let it die. And here we are. I second my husband's motion not to renew the contract with the Y unless there are drastic changes in leadership. Mr. Sandoval protects the agitator. He seeks advice and counsel from his superiors, Ms. Shrum and Ms. Gonzalez, who do not know what they are doing, do not care, and or will not take the time to get all the facts. Is this the best we have for our seniors? The membership says that Bob was the best thing to ever happen to the senior center, and they want him back, and he is happy to return for them. Revoking Ms. Hamilton's membership and reinstating Bob are the right things to do. The membership has spoken. They have filed petitions, filled out comment cards, made calls, and sent emails for Bob's reinstatement and Ms. Hamilton's removal. Here is your paper trail. They also want to know if you will give them their dues back if Bob is not reinstated. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I believe that was our last speaker. I just want to say there was a lot of overwhelming support and respect by the membership from the Senior Center for Mr. Bob Fishback. And I just like to say thank you for the positive impact you had in our community. Thank you, sir.
Mayor?
No, ma'am.
I didn't think so.
Okay, we'll move on. We have consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are self-explanatory and information packets are provided to council and available for public viewing. These items require no separate discussion unless requested by City Council. There's only one consent item, minutes, consideration or action, approving the regular meeting minutes of April 11, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda item?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilmember Hayward and second by Councilmember Dalla. Any other comments? Council, please cast your vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Aye.
The button. The button. No, just cast your...
Gee, I like it when my voice is heard, actually, so aye.
Okay. All council has cast their vote. Could you please publish the vote? All right, consent agenda items. The vote is 7 yeas, no objection. Motion passes. The vote has been recorded and confirmed. All right, we'll move on to discussion items and action items. Item number 2, ordinance number 23S02. Consideration or action on a request to rezone approximately 25 acres of land from pre-development district to planned development district located approximately 2,200 feet southeast of the intersection of Country Club Boulevard and IH-35 access road, also known as a portion of Comal County property identification numbers 377261 and Guadalupe County property identification number 63833, City of Schertz, Comal County, and Guadalupe County, Texas. Council, do we need a presentation on this ordinance? Presentation is required, Ms. Wood.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor, Council. As the Mayor said, this is a request for zoning for 25 acres to rezone from pre-development to the planned development district. On April 4th, City Council met, and the applicant had requested for this to be tabled so they can continue their discussions with residents, and it was unanimously approved to be placed back on the April 25th agenda. The property is located, I think most of us know where that is, but it's in North Cliff area. I-35 is over here, and it's this area here outlined in green. This here is the zoning map, or the public hearing notice map. The blue area outlined is the area of the property, and the red area is the area that the 200 notice public hearing notices were mailed to. Again, the subject property. The applicant is proposing to rezone from pre-development to planned development district with the base zoning of townhome district. They're proposing a gated community that's HOA maintained, 51 buildings, 6 with 3 units, 45 buildings with 4 units, 198 units. Each unit will be owned townhomes and could be sold separately. It would also include green space, which is the, under the LCR, a easement to include the walking trails, which is 7.52 acres. It would include the required fire suppression walls and any additional buffering requirements. Here's a graphic of that. It was changed from a previous proposal. I don't know if I need to go over that again, but if you'd like, I can. So staff has reviewed it. It has been to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a recommendation of approval. Staff has also recommended approval of the townhomes with the trail. Prior to this meeting, we did receive 12 additional notifications or public hearing notices in favor. We went through those. Those have not changed the supermajority, the 3/4 vote, so it would require a 6 out of 7. And the applicant is here as well.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. It's not a public hearing, but Council, do you want to hear from the applicant? Okay. Applicant is welcome to speak on his behalf on this project.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of council, Buck Benson, 2000 Broadway, representing the applicant. Obviously, this case is difficult. It's complex. We have 5 different associations, 2 that are immediately adjacent to this development, 3 that are 1 across the street, 1 further down the road. This is complex. I've been representing developers since 1998, and this is by far one of the most difficult cases I've ever been involved with. You have, I think, different interests, different complexities, and I think now with this concept of a PID being introduced, it's made it even more complex. I don't disagree with anything that's necessarily been said tonight, other than I did reach out to some of the neighborhood associations before this process started. But other than that, we have had discussions with the neighborhood. The neighborhood's the 5. You know, we've talked about doing a different style of development, but I want to remind you all, when we brought this case to y'all originally, the concern was ownership versus rentals. So we changed, pivoted, and did townhomes, and dropped our density. Now we hear that that's not acceptable, that it's still density, but nobody's ever told us what that number is. And I know even within this council, we've been told we'll do single family. Well, if we did single family, we did single family rentals, does that address the concern of ownership? I mean, we have a lot of different, we're being told a lot of different things. We've tried to come up with a product that we think is nice and that fits the neighborhood and addresses the city's issue of wanting to continue to have a park. We're trying to address as many concerns as we can. We've also heard that the rear yard setback is an issue of 20 feet. We're adhering to the same setback, that rear setback, that a single family community would. So if we were doing single family homes, we're doing the same setback, but on top of that, we're adding a restriction that no sheds or any structures in the back will be constructed. That's going above and beyond what your code would require for a single family community. We're also going to plant a tree in the backyard. We're trying to address every concern that we've heard, and I don't know that we're going to make any more progress. I have a suspicion that if we get denied tonight, we're going to come back with another type of development, but you're going to continue to probably have a supermajority requirement of 6 to 7. And so we're trying to address the concerns we've heard from council, trying to address the concerns we've heard from some of the neighborhood, but overwhelmingly they've said, you know, we're not comfortable with anything other than single family. That's not something we can do within this market and with interest rates the way they are right now. So I don't really know what else to tell you. This is a tough case. I've tried to be as open-minded and meet with as many people, talk to them, come up with things. For example, on the duplexes we're talking about limiting or not having any windows on the back. So the folks on the fairways at Scenic Hills wouldn't have anybody looking down on them. So we're trying to do what we can. It feels like I don't know. This is a tough case, and I would ask you all to consider it and tell you all we're trying and doing what we can to address all the concerns that we can. I don't know if you all have any other questions of me about the timeline or history. Or what we're doing and kind of where we are in the process, but it's a tough case, very tough.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Before I recognize the council, I do have a couple words I need to say. You know, we've become accustomed to living that any change impacts our daily lives and our patterns. And we know this is important to you. We heard and we listened to your concerns. We heard about the school issues. We heard about the traffic concerns. We heard about density and the foundations. We heard about the increase of crime, lack of security, limited police patrols, and parking in other neighborhoods, and questions concerning our Unified Development Code. Our city staff has endured personal attacks. Our city council has been labeled as unethical and questioned our transparency. It was insinuated that this council doesn't care about your community, that this council is only concerned about revenue and funds and not about the citizens. Regardless of what this council's decision is, it has nothing to do with funds or revenues. See, what happens here is when emotions are high, our hearts tend to harden, and our minds provoke different thoughts. And sometimes what is spoken here is different than what you hear. You know, the fundamental question here, is this development good for our city? That is basically it. The council has 3 major tasks. One is to pass a budget to ensure that adequate services are provided to our citizens. 2 is to fix problems. And the third one is the most difficult of them all, to create a future that does not exist. On a clear day, visibility can be a whole mile in distance. But on a foggy day, you may only have 1 car length of visibility. And at this point, we have a zoning proposal, as clear as a sunny day. And then in Austin, we have 150 House representatives and 31 Senate seats. 181 representatives, state representatives. Out of those 181, only 40 of them have city municipality experience. That means 140 of your representatives up in Austin have no idea of the challenges and the obstacles we as a city have to face. You know, Austin is influenced by lobbyists for developers. And these same developers have a strong bond in attempting to achieve what they want. And after each legislative session, we focus on not what was passed, but actually what did Austin screw up. At one point, one of these bills is going to affect the land that surrounds your community. And in fact, now that they're in session, up in just north from here in Austin, we have House Bill 1514, changing the zoning threshold from 20% of the effective owners to 50% to trigger a supermajority. The fog thickens. You have the developer may sell his portion of the property, with different PDD. You might have a different council up here, and residents unable to reach the 50% threshold. Now you have a new PDD. Better, worse, who knows? Or even the original proposal of a quadplex, rental units instead of townhomes. If this council says no, these quadplexes may appear as early as October 1st of this year. So in your opinion, do you think Austin cares more about your city than the council that sits here? The same council that shops at the local grocery stores as you do. The same council that dines at the same eateries as you do. The same council that has a vested interest in this city. It comes down to that we outpaced and outperformed our expectations. We have outgrown our housing availability, and we have outpriced homes for the common Schertz citizen. We need a viable workforce to accommodate our economic growth. It is clear as it can be. The most important question, the only question that we have here, is this development good for our city? If this council votes yes, development moves forward. If this council votes no, the fog will arrive another day with the same fundamental question, no different than what we're facing here. The question is this development good for our city? And at some point, that answer will be yes. Council, floor is open for discussion. You need to press the button. Councilmember Scagliola.
Mr. Benson, I don't have any questions for you. I do appreciate you reaching out to the different HOAs, though. I think I've said that before. I've got 4 points to make, and I'll try to keep it under 3 minutes. First off, I don't like politics. I can't do much about what's happening up in Austin. That's a real shame. What I do like, though, is governance at the grassroots level. Because here, in this room, it's all about we the people. We the people who have a responsibility and an opportunity to shape our own destiny. Point two, sometimes we can agree to disagree and still walk away friends. At least I remember those good old days. I can't make everybody happy with what I'm going to say. I know that for a fact. But I'm hoping we can respectfully agree to disagree. Especially, I think, when fundamentally we all want the same thing. Item number 3. Hey, I'm not against developers. I'm not against developments. The city of Schertz wouldn't have grown to what it is today without developers and developments. But I'm not in favor of this particular development. I have 3 objectives in this case. Objective number 1, let's keep Scenic Hills safe and secure. You deserve that. I agree. Number 2, I want to preserve our walking trail. That's on the walking plan, okay? And the interesting thing is those 2 can be compatible. I see no reason in the world why we can't have both. It isn't an either or, it's an and. And then finally, I'm all for smart developments. You know, what's my definition of a smart development? Well, how about a development that's compatible with the surrounding community? How about a development that doesn't violate our UDC? You see, our UDC should be considered a baseline, kind of sort of minimum requirements. Yeah, it really serves no purpose whatsoever to be deviating from our UDC. Mandate compliance with our UDC. However the vote goes tonight, I'll stand by that. Let's mandate the requirements in our UDC. All right, final point. I'll tell you what I believe in. I believe the area, you know what? They say we can't put anything there because it's not appropriately zoned. Well, you know what it was appropriately zoned for? To be a hole on a golf course. And to put anything else in there is, yeah, you're sticking a square peg into a round hole. I'm sorry. I can go with R6, R7 development. I think that's the most appropriate zoning. You got single-family residences to the right, you got to the left, up and down. You know, single-family residencies. And I hear well, you can't do that because of the ROI, return on investment. Not consistent with that type of zoning. But lo siento, folks. You know, I'm sorry, I feel it, I really do. But it's not my job to make right a bad decision. I say no. That's all I have, sir.
Councilmember Hayward.
I'm going to address a couple things. I think everyone keeps saying it's the UDC, but this is being done as a PDD. That's a Planned Development District. And per the city website, PDD, which is a unique zoning district for a given geographic region, to allow for development standards that are modified from the standards. So it's a PDD. It doesn't have to be, it can be modified with our UDC. So that's one of those things that it's not us, whether we're following the UDC or not, it's a PDD. It wasn't put on here as a regular old neighborhood. It's the Planned Development District, and that's what our website says. The other thing that everyone keeps coming up, and this is probably not gonna be good, but everyone says, we represent you. Yeah, we do. We represent you and all the other 43,000 people in the city of Schertz. And I didn't realize some of the things that the mayor said. I was thinking. We have to look at what's the future of Schertz. Where are we going? And we have to We have to make those decisions, and they're tough decisions when you're looking at putting development anywhere in the city of Schertz. There have been other developments in the city of Schertz that people didn't want. But as a council, we realized that it was the way to spur growth in a particular area. So we did it. One of them, our planning and zoning went completely against it, didn't recommend it. But the city council decided to vote for it. Not saying this is that case, but it could be. I'm not sure. The other thing that everyone talks about is traffic. Well, I went and did some digging, because everyone keeps saying single-family homes have less traffic than townhouses. Transportation Research Board with George Mason University showed that townhouses have actually less traffic than single-family homes. They did a study, and in that study, they actually used the San Antonio area as one of their areas. They went throughout the whole country, and they picked different areas. What they concluded was single-family detached homes, and they used 210 of them in their scope. There was 9.52 transverses per unit, so 9.52 different types of movement going someplace in a single family. Townhouse, they did 230 in their scope, 5.8 transverses per unit. So they've discovered that townhouses actually have less traffic, and typically single-family homes have more cars, more people. They tend to have more traffic than townhouses. We talked about, somebody mentioned foundation issues. Well, Texas is #1 in foundation issues when you're talking San Antonio, Austin, up to Dallas. It's because of the soil. It's because of our extreme weather. Wet, dry, it's dry. We gotta water our foundations to make sure that we don't have foundation problems, but nobody ever tells you that. You just buy a house, you move in, and you think everything's good. You should be watering them. There's a certain way to water those too to try to keep from having foundation, but we're gonna have foundation problems. That's just the soil that we have from that area. The other thing that I was gonna discuss was a bill. There's a House Bill 3921. That House bill right now is sitting in committee. And they're discussing whether to take away cities' rights. Right now, they're looking at a larger populated city. But that bill is all about density. When you look at that bill, when they talk about density, right now that House bill, and they have a Senate bill. So House Bill 3921 by Goldman, Senate Bill 1787 by Benton Court. Cities and counties over 300 in population cannot require large lot sizes larger than 1,400 square feet or 20 by 60, or fewer than 31.1 homes per acre, which specifies setbacks. So they've already heard this in the House Land and Resource Management. The Senate Local Government heard this bill. That could pass come October. Now, we're not there yet, but we could be. So when you think about, as we making decisions, we're trying to make the best ones that we can as a city locally, because a lot of times the things that are coming from the state are affecting not just what the cities can do and work on, it's affecting what you have a right to. There's a lot of things that are coming up through the legislation that we look at and go, oh my gosh, not only is it gonna hurt the cities, it's gonna hurt our residents, because that's not something we want. So they are doing things to change things, just like the one the mayor mentioned about the 50%. That didn't come from cities. I sat on a policy summit with cities. It's 121 of us, 120 of us throughout the state that go to Austin for 2 days to look at bills that we want to support and bills we don't want to support. We have 6 that we're support. All these other bills, because they filed 9,116 bills in the legislature this year. That is a record number. And a lot of them are aiming right at us with targets. They want to run the cities from the State House. Go look them up. I can send them to you. So I'm not saying which way I'm going at the moment, because I'm thinking about it, but I'm just telling you from a perspective that as we make these decisions, we make decisions based on what we think is the best for the whole city. And sometimes it ticks people off that live in that area because you don't want it. But when we're making these decisions, we have to look at the future. What is the future of Schertz? What can we do for the city of Schertz? How can we bring people here? We have large companies wanting to come here, wanting to know where will their people stay when they want to build here. Schertz is on the fast track of development just for companies wanting to be in this area because of where we're located off of I-35 between San Antonio and Austin, and we've got our I-10 presence. People are looking, and they want to know where their people can live. We don't have a lot of places where their people can live. And then when it comes to cost, which surprised me when I talked to several people. There's a lot of people, some people I didn't even expect that make 6 figures, and they live in smaller houses. They don't want the big. They don't want the work. They want to be able to work hard and then play hard. So their playing hard is not taking care of yards and not being in a big house. They just want small. I looked at millennials. Some of those millennials are up in their 30s who could probably afford one of these townhomes. They like small. They don't like big. Their whole thought process is, how can I save the earth? So they want smaller homes, smaller lots. They want to be able to walk to things. At some point, we'll have that. Don't know, you know, with walking trails and those things. They like to do that. That's what they're into. So are we trying to bring millennials here? People like to move about. They want small. And so I have to also look at that when I do decide to make a decision on, is this something good for the city or not for the city? I just wanted to give y'all some information that I dug up. So when I do the research, I dig and I go into the rabbit hole with Alice because I want to get all my facts and all the information I can. There's more that I can share, but we don't have time tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to somebody else.
Okay, any other council? No other comments from council. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 23S02?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilmember Whitaker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hayward. Council, any further comments? No further comments. Let's go ahead and cast your vote. Council has casted their vote. If you can please publish the vote. The vote is 5-4 and 2 objections. Just to be clear, the council did vote that the majority of council had approved the application. However, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code 211.006D, a 75% majority was required for the motion to pass. Therefore, this motion has failed. All right. The motion failed. If you could please record the motion and confirm the motion. Thank you. All right. We'll wait a couple of minutes till the room clears. All right, we'll go ahead and continue. We have a closed session. Item number 3, the City Council will meet in closed session in accordance with Section 551.072 of the Texas Governmental Code deliberations regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real properties for future roadways, roadway expansions, roadway extensions, city facilities, drainage and detention, and general municipal uses. The time is now 8:33. We will reconvene after our closed session. The time is now 9:12. It feels like 11. We reconvene into our regular session after our discussion and deliberation regarding our closed session on agenda item number 3 in reference to real property. The start time was 8:48, end time was 9:10. There is no action required from council. Therefore, we will move on. There's no roll call confirmation required anymore. So we have item number 4, quarterly financial reports for FY 2022 and 2023, the first quarter. And item number 5, the Guadalupe Regional Medical Center Prescription Assistance Program for Schertz enrollees report. These are information packets that were provided to council and available for viewing for the public on our homepage, schertz.com. Okay, so we'll move on. Council, any possible updates or information requested from staff?
Mayor, if you please. All right, here's the thing with the senior center. When it comes to contracts and personnel, probably the worst thing the city council can do is get involved. So I don't know how we can get involved with this without getting involved with it. I'd love some way to work around and find a solution to the problem, because they are our residents. We need to show our support for them. On the other hand, it's the YMCA that's really in charge. So I'm at a loss for determining how to get resolution. Any suggestions, Mr. Steve?
I guess, Mr. Williams, can we review the contract to see? I'm sure there's more requirements than just what we're requesting from the YMCA as far as the management of the senior center, because it also comes down to the atmosphere that is provided by the YMCA. So maybe we might want to look and see what the verbiage is on that contract.
We can take another look at the contract and review. I don't want to run afoul of open meetings. Dan, maybe you can correct us, turn this into a discussion now.
That's correct.
We can bring something back and report to the council at a future meeting.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll definitely take another lap.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Council, any other items, information you want from staff? Council, is there any future agenda items you'd like to see? None. Okay, so let's move on. The comments by our council members. Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. Councilmember Davis.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Councilmember Watson.
Last week attended partnership.
Councilmember Whitaker.
I attended the Alamo title ribbon cutting.
Councilmember Dalla.
Nothing today.
Councilmember Scagliola.
Oh, went to SSLGC, had a good time there, and also the chamber mixer over in Santikos.
Councilmember Hayward.
Attended the ribbon cutting for New York Life, Joey Minchie, the TML Legislative Update Webinar, NEP Luncheon, JBSA Quarterly Community Partnership Meeting, ribbon cutting for River City Gutters, the Chamber Luncheon, the ribbon cutting for Alamo Title Company. I skirted in later. And then Purple Up Military Child Support for military kids photo at the City Hall. That's all.
All right. The time is now 9:16. We stand adjourned.